Good morning, slow life traders. I have a great subject today. But before we dive into this subject, I just got to tell you, this is not a subject that I am an expert on. So please take what I say as in general or as a guideline. Please seek your own personal tax man, the IRS, or whoever else it is that you count on. But do not take what I say as the gospel, okay? I'm only gonna talk in general. This is not my field of expertise. Okay, what we're gonna talk about today is taxes. Saw somebody say that day trading, be careful of day trading because you can get hit with the capital gains tax. Well, I gotta say, first of all, I told y'all I come from humble beginnings. So just the simple fact that you say you gotta deal with capital gain tax and not payroll tax, that showed me right there that you're not on the bottom floor. Okay, because people on the bottom floor don't even know what a capital gains tax is. Capital gains tax, the taxes are way less than payroll taxes. At least that's been my experience. So, will you have a capital gains tax problem? That's the goal. I sure hope so. Anyway, here's one thing you can do to combat that. First of all, because we're trading the SPX, you have to pay a little bit less taxes on it than you do with just a regular stock. So that's one way of cutting your taxes down right there. Okay? But here's the biggest one that I love. Don't trade this in a regular investment account, because if you do, you're gonna have to keep up with every single trade, and it can be a tax person's nightmare. You could forget about going to the H&R Block or somebody like that, because you're gonna have a tax problem. That is for real. But the way to get out of that tax problem is open up an account in an IRA. You have two types of IRAs that I know about. One of them is the traditional IRA, where you get a tax break for putting your money in because you don't have to pay taxes up front. You only have to pay them down the road when you take the money out. So you don't have to keep up with every trade in and out for the end of the year on taxes. And this is a great way to do it because it can reduce your taxes right now. But you can only contribute. I mean, you can't open up an account and stick 50,000 or 25,000 or even 10,000 in that account this year. You can only put in, depending on your age, somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a year. Okay, so that could be one problem. Unless you already have a IRA, you can roll it over to a different broker or keep it with the same broker and trade with it from there. Okay, that's the IRA, traditional IRA. The second one is, this is the one that I love. Don't worry about the tax break right now. Put it in a Roth IRA. In a Roth IRA, you don't get any kind of tax benefits in today's. But when you get past 59 and a half and you've had this account long enough, I think it's 5 years. I'm not sure, but I think you can pull your money out tax-free. Hello. Thank you. Okay, now, you talking about, woo-wee. You talking about a good thing? That is a good thing. So, all this money you making, and guess what else? They give you less restrictions and rules and all that kind of stuff, that you have to pull your money out by a certain time and all that kind of stuff when you do a Roth IRA. The reason why they set these things up with a traditional IRA, that you have to pull your money out by a certain time, is because they ready for you to hurry up and start paying taxes. Okay? But with a traditional IRA, but with a Roth IRA, it's on you. Now, I don't know what the rules are as far as passing that down to the next generation. But like I say, seek your own professional for these different things. To, not only just to, because I don't really know what I'm talking about, but to check and see. As the one guy said, Mama said it ain't nothing wrong with asking. Hey, start getting yourself prepared for the future. Okay, now, let's say that you are somewhere in your 30s or 40s and you're not close to the 59 and a half, and you want to grow this thing to the point where you want to retire early. This is just my own personal opinion, okay? If you stick this in a regular brokerage account, it's going to be a tax nightmare with all these trades we're going to do. We're talking about doing 3 trades a week, possibly more, okay, for a whole year. That's a lot of trades that you have to keep up with on the profits and losses and all of that headache. Here's what you can do. Put it in a Roth or traditional IRA, and if you pull the money early, they're gonna hit you with a 10% penalty. I think it's 10%. Don't quote me on that. Well, that 10% penalty may be less than what you have to pay your stock person, or it may be less than you may have to pay your bookkeeper to keep up with all these records and trades, or even the headache that it may be worth it, so that you don't have to deal with all these headaches of keeping up with all this paper. Okay? So just take the 10% penalty, which you may be able to write off, I'm not sure, and then just pay the capital gain tax on top of that. If you do your taxes yourself, hey, you eliminate all them extra people that you have to pay. Nothing wrong with paying those extra people when you're making that big money. But when you're just starting out and you don't have all that big money, remember, just because you're doing 1 or you're doing 20, or if you play with 5,000 or you playing with 100,000, the sweetest thing about this, the same effort that it takes you to make the $100 trading with one of these is the same effort that you use if you plan with $100,000 and have 10 of these. Okay? So, your tax person, they still gonna charge you. You still gonna have the same amount of paperwork, even though you're only trading with $5,000. So, I think, and keep in mind here too, with these Roth and traditional IRAs, you only pay tax on it when you pull some out. If you never pull any out, you don't pay any taxes on it. So for me, yeah, hang on. It can create a tax problem, but it can create a tax problem. That's actually a good thing. You only pay taxes when you're making money, right? Right. Oh, here's the other thing is, let's say you're not making any money, you're doing all these trading. that you just won't do it right, like I'm teaching you. You still, even though you haven't made any money, you still have to do your taxes on these things, which means you still got to pay somebody to keep up with all these trades that you lost money on. Okay? Now, it's hard to lose money on a lot of trades, I'm gonna be honest with you, even when you're doing it wrong. But you still can. So you would love to create a tax problem, okay? In my opinion, I wish I had a $100 million tax problem. That means I probably made $1 billion. So, or at least 500 million. So, even though tax problem is a problem, it's a high class problem. Or as I say sometimes, it's a good problem to have. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on a tax problem. Take it or leave it. But whatever you do, don't trust it. Get professional advice, because that is not my expertise. But anyway, thanks for listening, and I see you on the other side. Peace out.